Hola amores, welcome back to my channel. This is your girl Christina, and for today's Let's Chat video, I wanted to speak on a few things that have been kind of buzzing around the internet lately and just kind of got me thinking. So whenever it comes to these type of topics, I will try to tread carefully because I don't want to offend anyone out there, but I just want to give my opinion on this. So some of you guys may have heard of this guy, Malik Yoba. I honestly didn't even know who this guy was before all this, but it seems like he's an actor slash maybe a director. I'm not entirely sure, to be honest. But basically, he has been a topic of conversation within the past week because he basically professed to the public that he is attracted to a transgender woman, or some are labeling it as being trans attracted. And that was basically like a series of events that led him to say this. I think the main thing was like this clip that had gone viral of this guy who was dating a trans woman who I think he ended up like overdosing or something. So he's dead now. And so some people were saying that he basically committed suicide because of all the bullying he was getting from dating a trans woman, while others are saying that no, he overdosed because his girlfriend left him, and apparently they were in an abusive relationship. I don't know exactly which side it is. But basically, in the midst of all that, he came out and said he is attracted to transgender women. However, he still identifies as heterosexual. So in the midst of all this, it's caused a lot of, conversation to come up, with a lot of people applauding him for coming out and speaking his truth and all that, while others were not so open to it or receptive of it. So some people were saying like him doing this is an important step towards demarginalizing transgender people, and that it blurs the presumed line between trans people and heterosexuality, which from what I read, it sounds like they think this is a good thing. So yeah, and others were saying that basically his attraction to trans women and basically viewing them as women helps to affirm the womanhood of trans women. And I will include a little quick clip of where he was saying, that he's attracted to trans women, but that he's heterosexual. He likes women.
I'm not gay. I'm not attracted to men. That's first and foremost. And for the record, trans women do not date gay men 99% of the time. I say I'm heterosexual. I love women. And I love women.
Now, I obviously am not a man, therefore I cannot speak for all men or any men, but my opinion, considering a lot of these transgender women still have male parts, I just find it interesting that he would say that he's straight. Like, in my mind, if you as a man are attracted to another person that has the same parts as you, even though they may dress themselves up as a woman and, get breast implants and wear a wig and dress in feminine clothes, they're still a man. Like, especially if they haven't even undergone like gender reassignment surgery and still have their parts, like, how can you still call yourself straight? Like, I don't see how you can call yourself straight and mess with someone that has am I allowed to say penis? I don't know. But yeah, like I don't understand how that works. Like, I don't think most straight men I don't know. It's a very weird thing to me. Like, I'm like, just say you're gay. Like, sometimes I feel like all these different terms that come out, trans attracted and even bisexual, it's like, I don't know, like, I feel like as a man, if you're messing with another man, regardless of how they themselves identify or how they dress up or whatever, it's still a man. Like, I feel like you're like, that's just being gay. And just, why not just say that you're a homosexual? I mean, of course, I understand not every man would want to say that, especially not publicly, because with that, a lot of times comes a lot of public shaming and stuff like that. So, I mean, from that perspective, I could get it. But at the same time, I feel like to a lot of people, it just sounds like a cop out, or like, I don't know, another label to avoid saying that you're homosexual, you know. And let me just say, I personally have nothing against any member of the LGBTQ plus community, like, at all. As I said in a previous video, I've had friends in the past that were gay males, and I have, you know, an online friend that I talked to that's a trans woman. I personally have no issues with anyone in their community. My issue is just with some things that their community as a whole tries to do. Like, no offense to anybody out there that is part of this community, but sometimes, like, they just come off as bullies, and like they're just trying to really shove their ideologies down people's throats. And it's like, yo, I mean, if you are a trans woman and you want me to address you as a woman, like, I can do that. If that makes you happy, I can do that. I have no problem doing that. But at the same time, you can't expect for everyone to just all of a sudden, like, view you as a literal woman. Because at the end of the day, that's not how you were biologically born. And so my issue sometimes with trans women is that it seems like they're trying to redefine womanhood. And it's like the experiences that us biological women go through psychologically, mentally, and especially physically, it's not something you can just kind of put on, you know. Like, there are certain things we will go through that a trans woman will never ever experience because they are not biological women. And okay, so let me real quick include a clip of somebody kind of saying this, and then I'll come back with my thoughts on that.
We have to stop reducing women down to our body parts and down to these functions, and realizing that some women are going to have children and choose that, and some women may get married and choose not to have children.
And some women can't have children.
And some women can't have children. But we need to stop having this discussion about what makes a woman. People are looking at us like we're less than women. We have to change that narrative.
Now, if this were a biological woman saying this, that we shouldn't be reduced to our body parts, that we should be viewed as more than like a whole or a baby making machine, I would be like, yeah, 100%. I don't think that women should be reduced to just what we can do, like, in that aspect. But when you're coming as somebody that was born a male and you're saying this, to me, it's kind of hard for me to not take some offense to that. Because it's like, just because you can bear a child, or there's certain experiences that you know you will never experience because you're not a woman, don't try to undermine now the very things that make women women. It's like, you can't now, how can I even say? Again, trying to redefine what makes a woman a woman. At the end of the day, having periods is what makes a woman a woman. Going through pregnancy, bearing a child, bringing life into this world, being able to breastfeed. I mean, those are the things that make women women. Okay? I myself, I have 2 children. I had to go through those 9 months of pregnancy. I went through a long labor with the first one. I went through a C-section with the second one. I mean, these are things that a trans woman will never ever go through. And for them to now try to act like these things shouldn't define what makes a woman, I'm like, what? It most definitely does. Like, what do you mean? Like, I'm not saying that child rearing and all that is like the only things women are good for, or those are the only things that have defined us. But since the beginning of mankind, that has always been one of the major roles of women, to reproduce. We're the ones that have kept the population of the world going. So now we're supposed to act like that doesn't make us, that's not part of what makes us women. Like that is the issue that I have sometimes with what they're currently trying to do. And the other thing is this cisgender label. Like when I first saw that word circulating around, I honestly didn't even know what it meant. And then I realized, oh, okay, this is now their word for biologically born men or women, which I'm like, okay, just because y'all want all these labels, like, don't try to put a label on me. Like, I'm a woman, point blank, period. I don't need a prefix or an extra label. I am a woman. That's it. Like, I don't want to be called cisgender, and it just makes me think, how many more labels are we going to create? How much more are we going, or not we, but they, whoever, how much more blurring of the lines is going to occur? I mean, all this gender fluidity, I'm like, I'm sorry, my opinion, but I am not here for that. It doesn't sit well with me. Like, either you're attracted to men or you're attracted to women. That is what it is. Just keep it simple. Why so many labels? And the fact that they are trying to normalize all this gender fluidity, I can't agree with that. I can't. I feel like it's just further confusing people. And now I might get some shit for saying this, but up until the 1960s or 70s, homosexuality had actually been diagnosed as a psychological or mental disorder. It wasn't until the 70s that it was actually removed as being a disorder. And some people believe this was done on purpose, one, for population control of certain people, and for other, hidden agendas, which I wouldn't be surprised. But yeah, I feel like it's just allowing further confusion to occur. And I don't know. I don't agree with all this gender blurring. Like, I just don't. And I hope that doesn't come off as insensitive. I see comments from some trans women, and it's almost like they're trying to guilt women, like biological women, into feeling guilty because we have some type of privilege that they don't have. But I'm like, how are you gonna try to guilt trip us? Like, you're not a woman. Or let me not say you're not a woman, but you can't force society to view you and treat you as a woman when that is not how you were biologically born. And when I hear them talk about how straight men don't accept them, blah, 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 it's like, well, what do you expect? Because a lot of these trans women still look like straight up men. They still have very masculine builds and masculine facial structures. Like, just because you throw a wig on in a dress doesn't mean they're going to see you as a woman, especially if you still have your male parts. Like, I just don't understand. I don't know. I don't understand how they expect people to view them as that. It's a tough thing to talk about because on the one hand, like, I mean, I couldn't even imagine what it's like to be living in that situation, to be in a body that you feel you were not supposed to be born in. Like, for me being in this female body, but somehow feeling that I'm a man and on the inside. Like, I can't even imagine. And I also want to say that even though I may not personally agree with their lifestyle, I think that all human beings, regardless of how you identify, like your sexual orientation and all that, I think that everyone's humanity should always be respected. That is one thing for sure. And I do know that a lot of trans women, they out here getting killed. And, I definitely don't think that's right. Again, they're human beings with feelings just like we are, and they're going through their own thing. And again, I do think their humanity needs to be respected. And however they choose to live their life, just respect it and move on. But sometimes I feel like they don't give us that same treatment back. Like that is my main issue that I sometimes have with the LGBTQ plus community. Like, they want us to be so tolerant and accepting of them and their views and how they choose to live their life, which I'm like, fine, okay, I have no problem. If you are a woman and you into women, go ahead. If you're a guy, you into guys, whatever, go ahead. Like, I literally do not care. These are people, most of them I don't know. It's not affecting my life. So be who you want to be with, love who you want to love, sleep who you want to sleep with. That's all you. That is your business. But what I don't like is them trying to basically a lot of times force people into basically agreeing with it and accepting it and acting like we're supposed to see this masculine man dressed up in a dress and with a wig as a woman. Like, that just makes no sense to me. Now, granted, I know there are some trans women that definitely pass as straight up women. There are those that even I've seen a few of them. I'm like, what? That's a trans? Like, dang, it just looks straight up like a woman. And I've even seen some trans men online that, like, there's this one girl that always comments on Cardi B's posts on Instagram, and she said on her post that her boyfriend was a trans man. So I went to her boyfriend's page, and I was like, whoa, this guy looks like a straight up guy. You would not think that they were born a woman. But that's not always the case. Like, they just keep it real. A lot of these trans women look like straight up men. So anyway, okay, I don't want to keep on going before I end up saying some offensive stuff. I don't know. I'm really not trying to be offensive, guys. It's just the moral of the story here is, look, if you into guys, just say you're into guys. Like, Malik Yoba, you're gay. Just accept that you're gay. If you're a trans woman, like, I'm sorry, but you can't redefine what womanhood is. You can't. This is what women have been since the beginning of time. We have been the bearers of children. There are certain biological hormonal processes that our bodies go through that you will never go through. And as far as that cisgender label, like, y'all can keep it. I don't want it. I'm a woman, point blank, period. So that is it for this video. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down below. If any of you out there listen to the video happen to be gay or trans or whatever the case may be, just know that I'm not trying to attack. Okay, that's not at all. The purpose of this video is just to give my opinion as a woman and how I feel about some of the things going on. All right, guys, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll check you on the next one. Bye.